Okay, somebody asked me specifically about um, the quote about the voice of one calling in the wilderness, which you find from John the Baptist in the Gospels, of course, in the beginning of John, which is what we're talking about now, but also in Mark's Gospel and elsewhere. Okay, now in John and in Mark in the Gospels, then we have I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness. So the voice is in the wilderness. All right, make straight the way of the Lord. All right, so it's the voice that's in the wilderness, and so on. All right, whereas in the Hebrew, then it's the voice cries in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord Yahweh. Okay, so it's the way which is in the wilderness. You see? Okay, so with Mark and John in the Gospels, then you see that the voice is in the wilderness, but in Isaiah you see that the way is in the wilderness, and the voice is crying out about it. Okay, in the Qumran texts, it follows the same pattern as the Gospels. The voice crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of Yahweh, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Okay, so you can see there you've got the voice in the wilderness, and that's in Qumran. That's the Essenes or what have you with the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it matches the pattern of or the layout in the Gospels. All right, and in particular, of course, John 1, which we're looking at now. All right, so if you compare that with the Hebrew, you see that there's quite a different sort of pattern, because you've got kol kare, which means a voice calls or shouts, right? Bamidbar, in the desert. Uh, my pronunciation is not good. Panu, Derek. Okay, prepare a way for the Lord. Well, it would be the way for the Lord. Okay, you've got Yahweh there, the divine name. All right, so the layout is slightly different in the way that it's laid out in the Hebrew text. It doesn't really come across here because I've just got it copied and pasted, but it's laid out differently in the Hebrew text. So I just thought I'd show you that. I hope it helps. I hope it's of some interest to you anyway. And by all means, feel free to screenshot this, or I might put the text on the WhatsApp group so that you can actually look at it for yourself. All right. I have, however, discovered something. Actually, I will mention this. Is actually there are different versions of the Septuagint. I always thought for years. I thought that the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, was the same, and I thought there was just one text. But actually, apparently, there are several versions of it, which have been put together as compilations and then called the Septuagint, which is very confusing, because I like to be able to compare versions. Right? But in fact, there are various versions of the Septuagint, and it would appear that there are some versions of the Septuagint which may follow the same pattern. All right, which is very interesting. So I'm going to have to adjust what I put in my commentary, because I need to put that in as a caveat. I need to investigate that a little bit further, though. So that's fairly new information for me. So we'll see where we go with that. If I find anything new, I'll let you know.